I haven't pooped my pants in years
For obvious
until
reasons.
January 1st of 2023. And that was bad.
All of our Aussie friends are like, oh, Bali Belly. Nice.
Yeah. So I religiously take a hefty dose of magnesium every day. There's some other big supplements that are kind of newer to me that I've been taking that are really good for gut health. One is...
You are psycho when it comes to our sleep routine.
And that's what's kind of led to the evolution of the way that I think about inflammatory bowel disease. I used to essentially think it was only all about the gut microbiome. But I think there's another piece of the puzzle that has been neglected on my part.
We're pretty simple people, though. We pretty much just repeat. And I think that that's how you become successful. I don't want a lot of ingredients in my food just because I don't have time to make that, which is why we ended up making the cookbook.
When people hear the gut microbiome, and I know when I was first learning about it, I always kind of thought that it was this kind of like abstract, magical, thing that I couldn't see or really conceptualize, and it was difficult to understand until I actually saw like a really good visual of it. And so I'm going to show this visual on the screen. You'll then see how the bacteria are now falling in between the spaces of those cells. And when those bacteria or those food particles or anything else that's not supposed to be getting through those spaces are now inside the bloodstream, well, that is now picked up by the immune system. The immune system is registering that there are things that are not supposed to be in that area, and that creates inflammation. That if you just reverse engineer the process, then theoretically it would make sense that you would cut off the source of the inflammation, the intestinal lining would heal, and so I think that's essentially what has happened in my case and what I've been able to do. My name is Kenny Hannes. This is my wife, Kara. I've been in clinical remission from a severe case of ulcerative colitis since the end of 2016. Today we're going to be talking about our updated routines, our supplement routines, the water we're drinking, exercise, and I'm also going to be talking about my updated kind of view on how to tackle inflammatory bowel disease that includes not just the gut microbiome, but also providing raw materials through micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, etc. And then we're going to be responding to several comments.
All right.
Here we go.
Let's go.
All right, we have been trying to film this episode for
so long.
Weeks now.
Weeks and weeks.
And
years, some might say.
We did say that we were going to be doing a lot more videos and posts to YouTube, X, and Rumble, and we didn't. So things got busy.
Well, that's kind of a classic us move.
Yeah, that is pretty classic.
Whiplash.
So we just got back from Australia. We lived there for 18 months, and Kara worked, I was studying, and now we're back and trying to get basically all of our bearings back.
Yeah, it was an adventure. I loved being there, and it was a beautiful country, lots of great people. It was just so far.
It was far.
It was just way too far.
It's good to be home. So we did a lot of traveling when we were in Australia, and this is actually a story I've been meaning to tell. I just haven't got around to it. But we went to Bali when we were living in Australia, and Bali Belly is real.
Bali Belly is real. Also, you should know, so the interesting thing about Australia is because it's so far from literally everything, Bali is their close, fun, quick destination. That a lot of Aussies go to Bali. And since normally that takes 3 days of travel for us to get to, we're like, we should take advantage of this. It's a great...
So, I haven't pooped my pants in years until
for obvious reasons.
January 1st of 2023. And that was bad.
It was bad.
So, I guess we'll just go ahead and tell the story for full transparency. Because it happens. To everybody.
To everybody. Poop happens.
Poop happens.
Poop happens.
So,
okay,
all right,
so
you go ahead
I'll start. We are in Bali. We had a great time. We were there for a week. It was, I think, our last day that we were there. We had some pretty authentic food. And we were there the last day, and we went on a long walk. There was a really pretty nature walk that was in the town of Ubud where we were staying. And so we went on this nature walk, and we were kind of staying downtown. And we got probably about 15 minutes from the house, and I felt something move. And that's not normal for me. I am someone who's very regular.
Rock solid bowels.
Rock solid on my routines. And something moved. And then all of a sudden it moved again. And then it moved where there was nowhere else for it to move. And all of that happened within the span of about 30 seconds. And
it's like a mile-long walk that we've gone.
Yeah, we're a good 15 minutes away from the house, at least. And there's lots of tourists everywhere. And then on this nature walk, it's kind of nature, but then there's houses on both sides that all look out towards the trail. So there's nowhere to hide. It's not an option of, like... I'm also a pretty brave human when it comes to those situations, but I'm not stupid.
Definitely risky.
I'm risky, but I'm not stupid. And so we hightailed it out of there. So we turned and ran, and we did the whole like shuffle stop.
And I am being so kind to her.
Kenny's being the best husband ever because he's been through this before. He knows how embarrassing it's going to be when I poop my pants.
I'm thinking my wife is going to poop herself in public. I'm like, listen, I know how that is. I'm going to be so nice to her and comforting. And
he was like, you can do this. No one will know. No one's ever going to see us here again. This is fine. And I'm like, no, we're getting home. So we shuffle walked all the way home.
The worst part was that it was a mile on the trail before we even got back into town. But then it was like another 10 minutes to the place where we were staying for the bathroom because because you can't use the bathrooms in Bali unless you're a customer.
Unless you pay, and also there's no signs, so you don't really know where they are.
Right, so it's harder to find.
Yeah.
And you got all the way back. It was like 20 minutes.
I was a grand champion, and I held it. I made it.
I really thought
I made it back to our hotel, and then, then all heck broke loose. But before that, but we made it. The point is, it all got where it needed to go.
So Kara makes
and
it.
We made it.
We get home. She's doing fine, and we have like maybe a day or two left. It was just like one day left in Bali. So around that time, my bowels are also starting to get rather loose, and
which we take very seriously in our family.
Yes, of course I take that seriously. So this is the night before New Year's. We get home New Year's Eve. Get home to Australia New Year's Eve. And
just in time for New Year's resolution.
The next day would be, New Year's Day. Well, anytime I start to get a little bit sick with anything, whether that's like respiratory stuff, cold stuff, or my bowels start doing anything that's abnormal, the first thing I want to do is go work out. I'm like, I'm going to just beat my body into submission. And so Kara likes to do a lot of running. Kara ran a marathon last year. She does a lot of long distance, cycling stuff. And so I thought, I'm going to be an awesome husband.
The best
and
husband.
January 1st, I'm going to get up because I need to go exercise to get rid of the sickness, get everything back to normal. Like, let's go for a New Year's Day run.
Which also probably falls on me because I let you do that. Like, as someone who is a runner and knows that things happen when you run, you should not let her, like, PSA, you should not let a non-runner go if they're having previous bowel issues. That burden is the running community to bear. Proceed.
And I never go running with Kara. I don't do it.
Literally never. Maybe once when we were dating to kind of prove yourself.
So I wake up that morning, go move my bowels, feel everything's nice and empty. I'm like, all right, this is great. Let's go for a run. So we start running. And we get maybe half a mile down from our house, past our coffee shop, into somebody's neighborhood, and I start really thinking, oh my gosh, I'm feeling quite a lot of urgency, and I have felt that feeling before. And I said, Kara, we need to turn around.
At the first part of this person's property, he said, Kara, we need to turn around. and then we passed our driveway, and then that was it. It was probably about 10 seconds from we need to make a change to it's too late to make a change.
I told her, I was like, we go back. She goes, okay. So I started taking a couple steps, and I'm like, I have to clench so hard. I'm like, no.
The concentration face was so...
I was
we were just silent.
And then
it just came. And I lost it, and I was laughing my head off.
I was so supportive.
Which was not supportive of me.
And I was so supportive of her when it was happening to her.
I'm so
and
sorry.
she just laughed hysterically as I am pooping myself.
It was like an awkward laugh.
And
I didn't know what to do.
And I'm wearing gym shorts, and so I have to literally like bind up my shorts. And
sorry, trigger warning, TMI.
Right.
Can you do a short bind up?
Short bind up. Hold my shorts close against my leg.
Trademark that word, by the way.
That's a good one. And we had to waddle home. I had to waddle home while Kara is laughing hysterically.
I was comforting you, but also laughing. Once I got control of myself.
Right. So we get home. Now that was embarrassing. I have never done that in front of my wife before.
And it's never happened since.
It never happened before or since. Well, while we were dating. It happened when I was sick.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a great way to start off 2023.
But the other funny part of that is that you had that one episode and you were like, that's it. We're getting on track here. Like, we're not going to be we're not playing this game anymore.
Started just crushing a ton of lactobacillus reuteri yogurt.
As one does.
Probiotics. I mean, my bowels were normal within a day or two.
Yeah.
And then
I am not someone who has had to exercise extreme, strict discipline in my gut health diet. I haven't had a lot of those issues. So I'll generally add in some things, but I'm not someone who's had to really, really hone in on it. Well, I tell you what. So we get a week out, we get 2 weeks out, we get 3 weeks out. I'm still not regular from this.
It was about 2 weeks. It wasn't full 3. I mean, it might have been 3.
I think it was a full 3. Whatever it was, I was not okay. And
she comes out.
But I didn't want to tell Kenny that because she's always on me about doing my gut health stuff, and she
just wants to be normal.
I just want to be normal.
So I come out of our bedroom one morning, and she's sitting at the table, and she looks at me and she goes, "I'm still having diarrhea, man." I
finally confessed, and Kenny helped me, and I did get back on track within 2 weeks or so. I think I was back, but
so luckily
we were not okay for a little while.
Had our Viome custom probiotics on hand, which was nice.
Yes, I started smashing those sticks every morning.
So we started giving that. So Kara started taking her supplements, and if you haven't,
turns out when I actually do it,
it was pretty cool. So definitely. Obviously, we're sponsored by Viome, and we love Viome, big fans of Viome. I think that's probably the coolest supplement there is. You literally submit a stool sample, they analyze your gut microbiome and see which specific foods are going to help improve the composition of your gut microbiome, and give you some strategic supplements that you can take. And then they'll also give you, if you want, a formula that they blend themselves, designed based on the results of your gut microbiome test.
Based on the strains that you need.
Right. So, and we also have a discount code for you. So go to trybiome.com/Hannes and use code Hannes to get $110 off of any of the individual testing kits. Or
that's a lot.
Yeah, or you can use code Hannes20 to get 20% off of your first 3 months of one of the bundle packages that includes the personalized supplements that we just talked about.
The other thing I like about that is when it tells you what foods you can eat more. Like, it's your green light foods, your yellow light foods, and your red light foods.
Right, yeah.
And so you can totally change. And that's more fun to me than, just I need this type of bacteria. Because my brain thinks in, practicality.
Right.
So that was good. So I started incorporating a lot more different fruits, vegetables, different kinds of meats, and all of that stuff. And it was
good.
Got back on track. So. And so now our bowels and bathrooms are healthy and happy and
good to go.
Regular.
I do really think that's a really good company, and I think that kind of work is really important. I think it's a really easy way to just kind of make sure that you've got some metrics and a baseline to look at, and something that you can use to incrementally move forward, and then just reference to see, okay, this is kind of the general path that I need to take. So yeah, I definitely check that out. Okay, so now we're going to do a hard segue into our kind of our routines. So we wanted to do this obviously earlier in the year, so kind of help people start their year off with a good routine. Because mine has changed a little bit.
Our routines always change, and that's okay. That's a good thing. I think once your routine stops serving you, you need to change it. Right. So if we come on with different routines, I think that shows that we are going to evolve with the way our schedules evolve, with the way that we evolve, with what you need. What works for one season might not work for another season.
Yeah.
So
for instance,
take it with a grain of salt. Do what you need to do for what works in your season.
Yeah. So for instance, my current schedule is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I normally wake up at 5 a.m., go work out at 6 with my brother, and then I only eat 2 meals a day. So I'm not really doing intermittent fasting per se, or really at all, because I come home after working out and I'll eat a really big breakfast around 9 a.m. And then I'll leave for the day and go do all of the work that I'm going to do. And then I come home and then I'll have dinner. And so typically my breakfast is between a pound of beef and a little smoothie, or 6 to 7 eggs with a smoothie. So it's a decently sized breakfast, and then I'll take a butt ton of supplements. Butt ton. So that'll either be always gotta have some gut stuff. So that'll be my Viome supplements, kefir, L-Reuteri yogurt, whatever the probiotics going to be that I'm having that day. Sometimes all of them. And then the supplements I take will be the ones that I really haven't talked a lot about supplementation, is because I don't want people to think that you have to just supplement all with everything. Because I think the majority of gut health is improved through your nutrition and exercise. But there's a lot of other things a lot of other goals I have that I'm using supplements to help get towards. Mm-hmm. And so something I'm taking all the time is magnesium. So I take a decent sized dose of magnesium malate every day. Take zinc, take some copper to make sure that the zinc copper ratio is good. And I've been taking a decent sized amount of vitamin C with my meals as well.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Can you explain, because we've talked about this before, why magnesium malate? Why there's so many different types of magnesium? Why do you choose magnesium malate?
I don't remember what the exact reason that I chose magnesium malate, because I do like other forms like magnesium glycinate, or there's some other forms, but I think that magnesium malate was one of the ones that was the least bothersome or caused the least gastric distress. Okay. Because sometimes you take certain types of magnesium, I think that they can cause like a little bit of diarrhea or whatever. Got it. And I obviously didn't want to do that. But since we're on the topic of magnesium, this is something that I didn't really talk a whole lot about before, but when we were in Australia, the seasons are flipped. So from November to February is summer in Australia, and where we were living, we didn't have air conditioning. That wasn't part of our apartment.
We were camping, basically.
Yeah,
we weren't camping.
It was so unbelievably hot.
It was hot,
and it was muggy. So you're sweating.
So you're dehydrated 100% of the day.
Sweating all day, just a low grade sweat all day, and I started having incredibly anxious thoughts, just tons and tons of anxiety. Which I have a relatively high resting threshold of anxiety in general, but this was like I'm very safety minded and generally risk averse.
Yeah. That's a good way to describe it. Not diagnosed anxiety, but safety-minded, risk-averse.
Yeah, I'm like to keep my head on a swivel.
Yeah.
However, I was having some irrational levels of anxiety that were not normal for me at all, and this was going on for a couple of weeks, and it was really starting to bother me because it was impacting. It was
affecting your daily life.
Affecting my daily life. And then one night, we're going to bed, and again, both just drenched in sweat from sweating all day long.
Just laying there in our
puddles.
own sweat.
And then I got a cramp that felt like the Grim Reaper was coming to cut my leg off or something. I mean, there was
the Grim Reaper came forth through your calf muscle into this world.
It was like a tennis ball sized cramp in my calf, and I wake up screaming and shouting ah! And Kara wakes up. What's going on? Kara thinks we're being attacked. And so I grabbed her hand and put her hand on my calf. I was like, do you feel that? And she was like, yes. And it was incredibly, incredibly painful.
It was huge.
And so
Charlie horse.
After that was subsided, I started to think, oh my gosh, maybe I know this isn't very intelligent, and it took me so long to think about this. Like, maybe I'm deficient in electrolytes because I'm sweating all the time. And then I started reading and found out that when you're deficient in certain electrolytes, specifically magnesium, that can obviously contribute to anxious thoughts. And I was like, no way.
And muscle cramps.
Yeah. And so I started supplementing with magnesium, and all of my anxious thoughts subsided. Yeah. Back down to my normal resting level.
Your everyday normal.
Right. And
which
so,
obviously that goes to say that's not going to be everyone's answer, but
right,
that was a big deal for you, and it was something as simple as just adding in magnesium.
Right. So
that's great.
And not only that, so I mean, magnesium is literally a cofactor for every kinase in your body. So it's really, really important for your health in general. For
pretty much your everything.
Right. So I religiously take a hefty dose of magnesium every day. Zinc, copper, vitamin C. I take iodine for my thyroid. What else do I take? There's some other big supplements that are kind of newer to me that I've been taking that are really good for gut health. One is black seed oil, which is an oil. I forget which company I'm using, but maybe I'll flash it across the screen later. But I'll take about a tablespoon of black seed oil, which has a really powerful antioxidant known as thymoquinone. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Thymoquinone.
Sounds like a Greek god.
Basically, let's see here. Thymoquinone. Yeah, there it is. So anyways, it's a very powerful antioxidant. It's really good at improving kind of the environment for your gut microbiome. It's apparently helpful for improving your gut barrier. And in addition to black seed oil, I also started supplementing with thiamine, which is also another another vitamin that you need more of in your gut for different metabolic pathways and for improving the cellular health in general of your gut lining. And that's what's kind of led to the evolution of the way that I think about inflammatory bowel disease. So generally, do
you take all of those in the morning? Is that part of your night routine? Where does that fall in your routine?
I take most of those in the morning with my breakfast just because I forget to take them at night. And so...
And we have a whole other night routine that you do.
We do, yeah. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
So, kind of go on a little bit of tangent here about how the way that my understanding of inflammatory bowel disease has kind of evolved. So, initially, I used to essentially think it was only all about the gut microbiome.
Okay.
And that was what you just absolutely needed to focus on. And I do still think that, but I think there's another piece of the puzzle that has been neglected on my part, which is simply just providing your body with the raw materials it needs to resynthesize and heal that damaged tissue. So the gut microbiome and the intestinal lining, they literally interface with each other, right? So the the bacteria in the microbiome, the bacteria, the fungi, and the viruses, they literally interface. And for instance, when you eat prebiotic fiber and the bacteria metabolize that prebiotic fiber, one of the byproducts, which is essentially like just a byproduct, is a short chain fatty acids. And these short chain fatty acids are then used as fuel for the intestinal lining, so it keeps those cells healthy, and then it upregulates the transcription or the just expression of tight junction proteins that glue your intestinal cells together, so you don't have leaky gut. Now, you really want that interface to be working well, so you do need to have a healthy gut microbiome, but you also need to have the raw materials for the intestinal lining to actually heal. And so that's why I do think it's really important to get your micronutrients. So B vitamins, glutamine, and collagen/gelatin are also really important, so I've been taking that as well. And so my focus has really shifted to it just being gut microbiome to being gut microbiome plus raw materials
and basics.
Yeah. So if you've
simple but not easy.
Right. Yeah. So I do think that's important to think about and just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. So that's kind of what we've been doing, or at least what I've been doing.
Okay.
Do you want to share anything about your daily routine?
My daily routine has changed a lot since we've moved. We went through, when we were moving, we had a time of transition where everything was pretty much carte blanche. But now that I'm working, my routine is I generally get up at 5 with you, head to work for the day by 6. I'll do a morning, general multivitamin. I supplement with creatine, and I supplement with magnesium as well. Can't remember when I started doing that, the magnesium. Anyways, but creatine's interesting because it's one of the pretty much universally agreed upon supplements that we really haven't seen any negative side effects of. And there was an interesting study where they found that there was a possibility that it actually also helped improve the composition of the gut microbiome. That's not why I take it. I take it for performance improvement, athletic endeavors, all that stuff, but muscle mass. But I do think it's an interesting, it's an interesting factoid. So that's what I take in the mornings. And then in my breakfast, I usually do like a yogurt, eggs, something like that. And then my lunch and dinners are pretty much some kind of vegetable and meat, whether that's a salad base with some rice, beans, meat, or if it's totally separate, roasted vegetables and meat. That's pretty much how we do it.
Yeah, I guess we didn't really even talk about what our meals are like.
Yeah, we're pretty simple people, though. We pretty much just repeat. And I think that that's how you become successful. Yeah. And I don't want a lot of ingredients in my food just because I don't have time to make that, which is why we ended up making the cookbook. That's why we ended up doing all that stuff, is because I don't want to spend 3 hours in the kitchen every day.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's kind of what my routine has been. And then I'll work out in the afternoons, do CrossFit, do functional bodybuilding, that sort of stuff. That's what I've really enjoyed. Now that we're back in America, I've toned down the long distance running and gotten back into the gym a little bit because our weather is just not quite as beautiful as it is in Australia. But I did want to talk a little bit about our sleep routine because you are psycho when it comes to our sleep routine. And I am someone, again, Kenny married someone who's a little bit more fearless with their routines than he is, which is, if you've heard Kenny and you've heard him talk, you know that he has a pretty high bar for discipline. But I have grown to meet his needs. So when we start going to bed, because we get up at 5, we start going to bed probably around, our goal has been like 8:15 the last couple weeks, but generally we start winding down around 8:30, and then we're in bed by 9. Pretty much. And we're pretty good about being in bed by 9.
Plus or minus 10 minutes.
Plus or minus 10 minutes, depending on what show we're watching. Yeah. And if it's on a cliffhanger. And which I know that's blue light before bed. Don't even get me started.
I wear my blue light blocking glasses.
I don't. I don't. Anyways. But once we get into bed, let's see, you shower. I sometimes shower, sometimes I shower in the morning, and then we have to go through our nightly rituals of phones go up. But first they go on airplane mode, so we've got to be on airplane mode.
Always.
Then we have to set our alarms, but make sure you don't have too many alarms because
something else also goes off.
The light?
The Wi-Fi.
Oh, the Wi-Fi gets turned off, airplane mode goes on, and then the lights go off, and we turn on. We've got a red light lamp in our room to prevent your brain from taking in blue light a few minutes before bed. So we just give our brains whiplash because we watch TV and then we go do red light. But, it could be worse. We could just do regular light, I guess, after TV. So
got a white noise maker.
We've got a little noise maker. So after phones go off, Wi-Fi goes off, airplane modes go on, alarms are set, red lights on.
Carry my dog to bed after.
Yes, if Kenny takes a shower, I take that time to snuggle with the dog in bed because she's not allowed in our bed when Kenny's there. So I'll take the time to snuggle with Goose. Then when Kenny gets back, he carries her to her bed, and we all go to sleep. Pray together and we go to sleep.
It's a pretty good one. Now, I don't sleep as good as Kara does. Kara can fall asleep instantly. So
my sleeping bothers Kenny because I sleep so well.
Sometimes I'll be awake at night and I'll just hear her sleeping and
you just get angry at me.
But no, sleep is extremely important. So I do take it very seriously because if you are not getting adequate sleep, then it's just really hard for your body to repair itself. It's hard for it to recover and hard for it to heal. So
it's literally when your body's remaking things.
And so definitely, and also if you're struggling with gut stuff, your sleep-wake cycle is going to have some issues in general.
Jacked anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
So improving your gut health and improving your sleep should go hand in hand, and hopefully they would feed each other. So the better you sleep, hopefully the better your gut repairs, and then the more you work on your gut throughout the day, hopefully the better you sleep. And we also try to get, I'm trying to get some at least 30 minutes to an hour of sunlight a day. It's kind of tough since it's kind of cold here, but I do it anyways most of the time.
So impressed.
So impressed.
I wait till it's sunny and warm outside, then I go outside in the afternoon. So that's pretty much our sleep routine. Sleep's great, even if you're not someone with gut issues, especially if you're someone who's wanting to do a lot of training, lifting, running, athletic stuff. Really just life and longevity. Right. Sleep is great. And you cannot, the interesting part is you can't get back what you've lost on sleep. Your sleep deficit, you can't make it back up. So. Oh,
that's scary.
I know, it's really sad.
I've talked about leaky gut for a long time. And so I do want to kind of, because I have a pretty decent visual that I want to explain and show people. And then we'll talk maybe about our chickens and stuff. But so when people hear the gut microbiome, and I know when I was first learning about it, I always kind of thought that it was this kind of like abstract, magical, thing that I couldn't see or really conceptualize, and it was difficult to understand until I actually saw like a really good visual of it. And so I'm going to show this visual on the screen, but basically when you're looking at this visual, you're going to see you have the intestinal lining, and underneath it you have a representation of a blood vessel, and then you have these bacteria that are bouncing off the intestinal cells. And so when you're in eubiosis and these bacteria are bouncing down and they're creating the short chain fatty acids like we talked about earlier, and everything's good and you have the tight junctions holding those cells together, you have a healthy gut. But when you are in dysbiosis and those bacteria and the fungi and all the other components of the gut microbiome aren't doing their job, and those short chain fatty acids aren't being produced to upregulate the tight junction proteins that hold the cell junctions together, or the cells together, when that happens and the junctions start to come apart and you start to get leaky gut, you'll then see how the bacteria are now falling in between the spaces of those cells. And when those bacteria or those food particles or anything else that's not supposed to be getting through those spaces are now inside the bloodstream, well, that is now picked up by the immune system. The immune system is registering that there are things that are not supposed to be in that area, and that creates inflammation. Those cells are responding to those foreign particles, and that is what starts to create that inflammation, and over time it becomes chronic, and lo and behold, inflammatory bowel disease can occur. So it's really simple to understand that if you just reverse engineer the process, then theoretically it would make sense that you would cut off the source of the inflammation, the intestinal lining would heal, and things should go back to normal. And so I think that's essentially what has happened in my case and what I've been able to do. However, it starts with the gut microbiome, right? You fix the gut microbiome and the intestinal lining with the raw materials, through the micronutrients that we talked about earlier, and then all the probiotics and prebiotic stuff that I've talked about, for years. And when you fix that interface, you're cutting off the source of inflammation. So I just wanted to give that visual so that you could conceptualize and realize what exactly is happening, so that it's a little bit more just understandable.
Understanding, yeah. Because then it all makes sense of why. You need to know why you're doing what you're doing.
And that's the target. Now, is that going to work for everybody? I don't know, and I'm not going to say it is because I don't know. And there's different pieces to the puzzle that everyone has to tinker with. Yeah. But I think the theory seems pretty sound, and that's what I did. That's what I did, and that has allowed me to live a normal life.
Go on
trips, traveling, go to Bali, and then poop myself later. But that was
only once.
Only once.
That's the thing.
And Bali Belly's pretty notorious for.
Oh yeah, all of our Aussie friends were like, "Oh, Bali Belly, nice."
So.
Yeah, no.
Anyways, so wanted to get that out there. We're gonna respond to a bunch of comments.
Wait, let's talk about our chickens.
Oh, got it.
And then I'll ask you some questions and respond to comments and stuff like that. How does that sound?
Go ahead.
Okay, so other life update. We are parents. We have chickens now.
We're not parents.
We just have chickens. Well, we were a dog parent before, and now we're dog and chicken parents.
I hate those terms.
And Kenny hates me for it.
I don't hate you.
So,
I love you.
Okay, so we have chickens. We had 5 originally because we wanted to start having eggs. And we did lose one. We did decide to name the chickens after the women, some of my friends that we met in Australia. So shout out, our chickens are named Stephanie, Vivian, Rebecca, and Robin. They are lovely chickens. They lay great eggs. We did have another one named Firebird that Kenny aptly named. It was red and black. However, we do think it was a victim of a raccoon incident. Rest in peace, Firebird. But Stephanie has started laying eggs. She's pulling her weight around the roost. Robin and Rebecca love us. Vivian, she flies to the beat of her own drum. She's a special one. But we just actually got 4 more, so now we have a total of 9 chickens.
And the reason we got chickens is...
No, we got 5 more for a total of 9 chickens.
Yeah. Right. That checks out, yeah.
Checks out.
So anyways, we got chickens because we want to have the highest quality food that we can get. And so we're lucky to live on some acreage where we can have chickens. And now we have farm fresh eggs. And once all the chickens start laying, only 4 of them are laying, but once all 9 start laying, we're going to have almost a dozen a day. And so we eat a lot of eggs, which is awesome. Which
will be great. And that will actually help us with our bills and whatnot.
Yeah. And so that cuts down. So yeah, if you have the opportunity and the ability to own chickens, definitely recommend it. They're really funny.
It's been fun. Yeah. It has been really fun. And they're pretty easy for us.
Easy. They've been easy.
Yeah.
For us
minus Firebird.
Minus that
Rest in peace,
one.
Firebird.
Yeah, R.I.P. So that's been pretty good. Oh, there was something what was I going to say? Oh, Lactobacillus reuteri yogurt. So, yeah, this is going to...
Oh, and we didn't even talk about the cookbook.
We didn't talk about the cookbook or consultations. So go ahead. You going to talk about cookbook?
Okay, well, I just wanted to explain more. I think sometimes... Well, okay. So the cookbook came from my brain as a way to give people stepping stones to healing.
Yep.
In that, sometimes I think we talk so abstractly about what you need to do. Oh, this is what you need to do. This is what this is what I did. This is what you did. Everything like that. But when it comes down to, okay, what does that actually look like in day-to-day life and day-to-day living? Again, I don't have time to make something with 20 ingredients. I don't have time to do outside sun exposure for 2 hours a day and do the whole, anyway. I need something that I can put on the table or that I can meal prep or something like that. So wanting to be helpful to others, because I know that we're probably not alone in that. That's really where the cookbook came from. Right. Was giving people a way of, hey, here's simple ideas that you can start with that you really don't have to be that great of a cook. I think they're good recipes, but Kenny and I will be the first to tell you, I'm not someone who considers myself a cook connoisseur.
Neither of us are chefs.
This was a labor of love and working out recipes, working out how to make them foolproof, idiot-proof, and recipes that you can do really anytime or with things that are already in your kitchen.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
And on top of that...
That still fit your goals. Because that's the deal, is I want something fast that gets me farther in the direction I want to go.
Right. And on top of that, so the Biome Optima course, that was meant to be it's kind of this rigid example meal plan that you can kind of change for yourself, but it helps to take you towards that goal of improving the gut lining, gut microbiome interface. However, it's really strict, and sometimes you just need something
like life. You want to live life.
You want to live life. You want something that's off protocol, and so. I wanted, on top of what Kara was saying, we wanted to create a cookbook that was going to allow people to have that kind of freedom and flexibility where it was a gut healthier or gut friendlier alternative to a lot of recipes. And so that way, if you wanted to have some cookies or you wanted to have some brownies, but you wanted to feel like at least I'm still taking some positive steps forward.
Or at least neutral. You're not going backwards.
Neutral. Right. Like that's the goal. We don't want you to go backwards. And so you still have to... there's lots of caveats and stuff in the book where you have to make changes based on your own individual needs, and so you always.
But we provide references for that. That's the thing. Is then you're not guessing.
Correct, and so, but basically, that's kind of what the whole purpose of the cookbook is. It's to allow some freedom and flexibility, while also improving your gut health.
Yeah.
So consultations. So our plans have changed. Unfortunately, I really thought we were going to have the time to be really active posting videos and stuff to YouTube, Rumble, and X. And that has not turned out to be the case. So life is, I know everybody's busy, but life has gotten exceptionally busy for us this year compared to what we're used to. And
we've also tried to prioritize this year creating a balance for ourselves.
Right. So there's, we obviously this is not my full-time job, and so I can't do this all the time and put out tons and tons of content. I would like to, but I can't. And so it takes a lot of time and prep to make videos, come up with scripts and stuff. So I'm not going to be doing that as much. I'm still going to try to get videos out ever so often while we're kind of going through this busy phase of life, which this whole year will be very busy for us. But we're still offering consultations. And so if you ever want to talk to me directly and you just want to tell me about your story, ask me about my story, and we can bounce some ideas off each other and see if we can kind of get you on a trajectory that you feel good about, then you can sign up at teamhonest.com, and I'm still offering consultations because that requires a lot less of my time.
Yeah.
And so I can sit down and have an hour consultation with you and kind of go through my understanding of things. And obviously, you still need to work with your doctor, get your doctor's approval for everything, and if they're the final say, and I'm definitely not. I'm more of a
more of an extra support person,
right?
A cheerleader, supporter, someone who can also encourage and help you look at things the way you want to be looking at things, if you want to look at them from a nutrition perspective too.
Right. So keep that in mind. And then we are also responding.
We do have an email list on our website. If you go to www.teamhonest.org. .com.
Teamhonest.com.
.com.
www.team. Who are we?
What is our name? If that's not also classic. All right, www.teamhonest.com.
Yeah.
You can sign up for an email list. I am going to be working on putting out more content on that this year. Shorter, but recipes, just quick thoughts, quick tips, encouragements, things to kind of just be little reminders throughout your week. You can stay connected to us then. You don't have to worry about social medias.
All right, now we're going to respond to comments.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. User-OQ6VF1ID2D says, Hi, Kenny. What model of AquaTrue would you suggest? I'm thinking of getting one, but there's different options on filters and stuff that I'm kind of lost. Thanks for all the information.
Got it. Okay, so obviously water filtration is very important, and I'm a
big water fans.
Big proponent of reverse osmosis filter systems. However, sorry,
goodness,
burping up all my coffee. But a mistake that I made early on was drinking reverse osmosis water without remineralizing it.
Yeah.
And so finally made the switch. I do like AquaTrue, and I think it's good, but we had a problem with our last order, and
it got to us damaged, and it didn't work.
And it didn't work, and so we found
that's frustrating.
Yeah, but it wasn't really their fault. But anyways, it was really no one's fault. But the new filter that we are using is called a Blue Vua RO100 ROPOT reverse osmosis system countertop water filter, and I love that filter. So with this one comes.
That's good.
It's a countertop, so you'll fill up a tank, and then it fills up in a glass pitcher that's removable. And it also has a filter on top of the lid that has little minerals on top of it. So you literally are filtering your reverse osmosis water through more minerals and remineralizing it before it gets into the pitcher. So that solved a lot of problems for us, and I really, really like it. So I think that that's the one that I would go with over AquaTrue. And you can buy it on Amazon, and we'll put the link somewhere in the description. And yeah.
Okay, cool. Next one. This person says, Hi, Kenny. Thanks for this video. Always looking forward to your videos. Okay. I would be most grateful to hear your thoughts, sorry, not related to this video, on fasting in whatever form it is. I've added intermittent fasting to your protocol, and the improvement has been tremendous. In your protocol, you seem to have 2 large meals per day, morning and evening, which could have given your gut time to benefit from fasting. Do you think fasting might unbeknownst to you, have played a role in your healing?
Good question.
Kind of several questions there. One, what's your thoughts on fasting in general? And two, do you think it played a role in your healing?
Yeah. I do think it played a role in my health improving dramatically. So it's kind of changed a little bit, though. When I first started doing intermittent fasting, I was doing it more for trying to improve my testosterone. And I inadvertently realized that it also decreases stimulus of the gastrocolic reflex, so you're moving your bowels less per day, theoretically. However, I think that intermittent fasting is really only helpful if you're having several episodes of diarrhea per day, if you're just trying to cut down the number. I don't think it's absolutely necessary. It works out best for me just for my schedule to eat 2 meals a day. However, I don't think it's absolutely necessary to just stick to the 2 hard meals per day if you want to eat more. Now, as for fasting in general, I do obviously want to be very safe with this. Talk to your doctors, and because if you get, I like 3-day water fasts, and I do those pretty regularly. I try to do a 3-day water fast.
By regularly, you mean
once a month.
Okay.
I tried to do that last year. I don't think I got full 12 months. I think I might got like 9 or 10 months.
Closer though.
Got pretty close. But you want to be very careful with 3-day fast because if you get really weak and woozy and you faint and you hit your head, then you could die. So you need to be very, very careful and talk to your doctors before doing that. And just be very, very careful.
You have specific reasons for why you want to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the reason I want to do it is it upregulates cellular autophagy, which helps to recycle and remove damaged, misfolded proteins and stuff like that. So that's why I do it, and I do think it helps the gut rest and kind of heal as the cells regenerate.
And there's also kind of a difference in fasting for men and women, too.
That's very true.
Based on hormonal differences, too. So
intermittent fasting, I think, is
there.
less helpful for women because it can mess up your hormones a lot more.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I think fasting, it can be a great tool, but you have to be very careful with it because you don't want to die doing it.
Just be smart.
Yeah.
And I think that there's when you're looking at changing for an outcome, you want to look at your heaviest hitters possible. And there's probably other heavy hitters that you could change first.
Diet, exercise, and sleep. Yeah.
So that'd be my thought. Okay, Sarah Sherwood 6986 says, the yogurt maker you're using seems to be available in Europe only. Davis & Walter electric yogurt maker, fermented 2-in-1.
Yes. That yogurt maker is awesome. And I realized that I have not been very active on responding to YouTube comments, and I checked that yogurt video that I made, and
did it explode?
There are tons and tons of comments asking what the yogurt maker is.
Nice.
And so
you just left them.
Yep. So I used
Kitty.
the Davis and Waddell electric yogurt maker. If you can get your hands on it and you're able to get it, I think it's perfect because it's the perfect size for mason jar and has the perfect settings, and I really, really like it. But you don't need to use that one. You can find other yogurt makers. The whole point is that you just want to find something that can maintain the temperature at 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So you can do that with an Instant Pot. You can do that with other types of yogurt makers. The key is that the settings for certain yogurt makers, even though it says 100 degrees Fahrenheit or 98 degrees, whatever it is, it might actually be higher or lower. And so a way that you can check that is if it's an Instant Pot, you fill up your pot with water, put it in there, set it to the setting that you want, and then after a few hours, then you check the temperature of that water. And if it's 100 degrees Fahrenheit, then it's accurate and you can use it that way. If it's like 106, 108, then you're like, okay, that might be too high, so we need to find something else. So you do need to be creative and find another tool or another yogurt vessel that you can use to make it. But I do think it's very worth it. Lactobacillus reuteri is a tool that I wish I'd been using way before the last 2 years. It's a really, really powerful probiotic, and I'm very happy with it. So, yeah.
Awesome. Great. Okay. Force 1X says, the weird mullet, Kenny. Cut it.
I loved my mullet.
Kenny, if you haven't seen, which video? Do you have a video of you and a mullet?
It's in the yogurt one. But
all right, if you haven't seen Kenny's great Aussie mullet, we'll put it below. We'll put it on the screen somewhere, and also you can go watch the yogurt video because it's a classic.
So it's like the national haircut of Australia.
And if you live in Australia, I fully expect you to support us on this.
That's right.
Back us up on this.
It was great.
Okay. Mick L8212 says, oh, Michael, that's cool. Okay. Is this more potent compared to natural kefir? I found kefir really helped me during the bad UC flare in November. I continued with it and the doctors couldn't believe there was no inflammation present during my last colonoscopy last month. Congratulations. I'm on basic mesalazine. Why can I not say that today? Medication.
Okay, so L-reuteri and kefir complement each other, I think, in a lot of ways, but I don't necessarily know about more potent, but I like both. So like I'll drink kefir and take L-reuteri yogurt as well. So the difference between L-reuteri is that it's able to colonize the stomach, the small intestine, and the colon, where a lot of probiotics, their main action is in the colon. And so L-reuteri yogurt is especially helpful for things like SIBO because it can colonize the small intestine and it creates things called bacteriocins as well as hydrogen peroxide that go and actually kill bacteria, colonic bacteria that have ascended into the small intestine and are causing the problems. And so it's just a way to rebalance the ecosystem in the small intestine. That's one of the awesome functions of L-reuteri, but it's also just really good for reducing inflammation, pulling those tight junctions back together like we talked about earlier. And so the age-old argument for gut health is it more important that probiotics are just really high in the CFU count, or is it more important for strain specificity? I kind of just take a both roads approach, and some people might not like that, but it's worked really well for me. So I take the important strains, or the ones that I think are important, like Lactobacillus reuteri, and then the two kefir strains that are in milk kefir. And then I also try to just blast it with a pretty high CFU count from something like Viome or my Viome supplements. So I kind of just take that middle of the road approach. So I don't know that it's necessarily more potent, but I do think it's complementary, and I think it's very helpful, and I think it might be able to help shift you out of a plateau.
Okay, awesome. I don't know this one as much as a question as it is a comment. This person says, everyone suffering right now must know this. It takes months and years of strict dieting to feel better. Raw milk surprisingly helped me gain weight after flaring. You must be so patient and consistent. You can get back to normal life, believe me. It just takes consistent awareness and constant awareness of the foods you're putting in your body.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Excellent. Great job.
Awesome. Mark MCLA says, thank you, Kenny, for giving me hope when I really needed encouragement. I'm getting infusions of Remicade and following your 4 steps. During my initial flare from acute severe UC, I was hospitalized twice and lost so much weight that I was just skin and bones. However, I recovered nearly 100% in just 2 months. Wow. The 4 steps you mentioned were very important in my recovery. I'm hiking, playing basketball, enjoying life again. Thanks, Kenny, for your advice. You're the best.
That's awesome. That's great.
That's so great.
And the 4 steps are clean water, prebiotics, probiotics, and exercise.
That's awesome. Okay, this one is from Lynn Science. Have you ever examined the connection between thiamine, which is a B1 vitamin, deficiency and UC? Thiamine has a significant role in the process of turning food into energy for cells. When this vitamin is deficient in different parts of the body or organs, like the brain, nervous system, heart, or digestive system, these systems cannot properly function. Vagus nerve dysfunction alone can create a lot of digestive and mental health issues since this nerve connects the brain and the gut. And without thiamine, it cannot function well. Some research claims that UC is simply a thiamine deficiency in the colon. My experience, besides UC, I also developed nervous system and heart-related symptoms as well. Since taking a high dose of thiamine, all my symptoms went away, including UC. I would be curious to see what you think about it.
Cool. Yeah, I think thiamine is really important, and think it's definitely worth supplementing with. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, last one. This person says, what you said about negative thoughts becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy is so true. Positive action is the best cure for negative thoughts. Which video did you talk about that in?
Oh, that was the gut-brain axis one.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, I think that is... I think that we can get in our own heads a lot. I get in my own head a lot, all the time. And I can be stressed and anxious, and I'm really not as happy-go-lucky or as confident as I try to appear in my videos. I wrestle with doubt and anxiety about a lot of things in life, including health stuff. However, I think that taking action and taking steps to combat those things are the most effective things to me. Like the age-old saying, the antidote to anxiety is action.
Yeah.
And I think that seems to be the most helpful for me. So, yeah.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, those are all of our comments.
All right. And, well, that's going to do it for our episode. If you want to do any consultations, you can find us at teamhunters.com. And we'll go from there.
Cookbooks there, consoles there, courses there, email list is there. So anything that you want more of, you can pop in there. Contact forms there if you have any questions, anything like that.
Yep.
All right.
Cool.
Bye, guys.